so much stuff to get oiled up today and stained. Oh, man. Clean my hands real quick. Whew. Gotta dry the hands off by making this ridiculous gesture. Sorry, I'm sniffly. There's a lot of sawdust in the shop today. My air scrubbers only catch so much. My dust collector only collects so much. I hope some people show up so I'm not just yapping away to myself the entire time. So I'll start with the Uwara, and I'll do the customs and the war fans. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Saturday Stating. Just getting started with some Uwara here. Got a couple of Yellow Heart Uwara, a couple of Osage Uwara. We're gonna get those tongue oiled up. Thanks for the likes. If you got any questions about what I'm doing or what I'm working on or anything else about the shop, just drop those in the chat and I will gladly answer them. I got a couple of Yellow Heart Pocket Uwara here. I'm gonna tongue oil these up. Let them take their little tongue oil bath here. All right. Hey, Clayton, welcome. Hello, whoever's name that is, I cannot say. Mr. GX saying, am I making brats for lunch? No, Jeffrey, not today. Actually, I had brats, was it yesterday, I think? I had brats. Not for lunch, though. I made it for dinner. I probably had way too many the other day. Give me 1 second. Be right back. Welcome everybody. You got any questions? Drop them in the chat. But Jeffrey, now you got me wanting brats, man. I just had, actually I didn't have brats. I had kielbasa, kind of similar, but I had kielbasa the other day. But I do love me some brats. Whew. Now these two right here, one of them's I had a custom order come in. They wanted some stuff made out of orange Osage, so I made a pocket Uwara, a couple of pocket Uwara actually out of orange Osage, and I've got a fish bopper out of orange Osage. I'm gonna do after this. And I made some Tenarashi Tessin War fans. King of Woods. That's me. I'm not getting the grill marks. No, not on kielbasa. I did actually made my kielbasa. This may seem kind of like sacrilege, but I made them in the air fryer. Actually worked pretty well. I was surprised. And this is Orange Osage Fish Bopper. Fishermen or fishing people who go fishing use these to once you get the fish, and give them a little smack over the head so that they don't suffer. I should say they don't suffer as much. This customer wanted it out of Orange Osage. Got to make sure I oil the hole here. Always important to oil your holes. Always oil your holes. That is important rule if you're going to tongue oil an item that has a hole in it. Make sure you oil that hole. And then after that, you gotta buff and stroke the wood with your oil so that it penetrates the grain. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be dirty. I don't know why everything I say on these lives ends up coming out sounding like that, but it does. Man, now this one I'm pretty happy with. This is a Yellow Heart Tenarashi Tessin War fan. So back in the day, daimyo, which were like noble lord samurai, they would carry these Tessin war fans. They would often use them either as a secondary defense weapon or just to smack their subordinates upside the head. Problem with that, the folding fans are very expensive. They were not cheap, and they were not easy to come by. So they started carrying these, and then it eventually became a martial art because it's shaped like a fan, but isn't actually a fan. Oil that hole. Get in the hole, oil. Get in the hole. Can you get a shout out? Absolutely. What does that say? Editing dude, you got a shout out. Absolutely. How does what taste was? Yeah, this is my well, it was my third job, now my second job because I lost my day job on Tuesday. So, how does what taste with soda? Tongue oil? Not great. Beautiful transform. Thanks, Mike. I am the loveliest trans woman. That's funny. I got a whole bunch of these white ash Uwara. I had a big piece that I made like a vampire hunter wooden stake sword thing out of, and I had a pretty long cutoff, so I made a bunch of pocket Uwara out of the cutoff. What do I look for in a man? Well, nothing right now. I am taken, Mike, but thank you very much for the question. I am absolutely fluffing it, 100%. You gotta, you know, if you want your wood to stay hard, you have to fluff it. God damn it. I'm trying to keep it clean here, people, and you're not making it easy. Oh, gosh. I got 6 of these, and then I've got another long Uwara to do. I've got a couple more war fans that I made. Give me 1 second. And I am gonna run out of room on my drying rack. I know, man. Who's talking like this at freaking 12:40 on a Saturday afternoon? Absolutely inappropriate. I never knew working with wood could be so dirty. I promise it's not intentional. I'm not trying to be dirty. I'm not. It just always seems to come out that way. Ohayou gozaimasu, Jacobe! Whew. Man. So yeah, I lost my job, my day job as a marketing copywriter on Tuesday due to corporate restructuring and layoffs and stuff. So I'm just making as much stuff as I can in the shop right now, and it was a lot. So got so much stuff to while. But if you got any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, and I will gladly answer them. Just got one more of these to do, and then moving on to some more interesting stuff. Oh. Got so many of these Uwara. Oh. All right, that's the last of the white ash pocket Uwara. I got one more long one to do. Let's see here. This one, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to probably auction this one off. The tip that goes like to the back of the fist had an issue with the wood, so I had to grind it out, and unfortunately it ground off about a ½ inch off that striking tip, so it's not really to standard for my shop. And when something's not to standard, I usually just auction it off on the cheap on eBay. So this will probably be up on the shop on auction tomorrow. I got to get it corded up and everything in the morning. But it's white ash. It's still a good wood. It's still functional. It's just this part's supposed to come out the back of the fist, and it doesn't quite come out much because it lost a little bit of length because of that void I had to grind out. So not awesome, but not the worst either. But I will auction it off, and somebody, I'm sure, can use it. Whew. All right, let me get a new towel here. Now I've got these, I made a couple more of those war fans, a little bit bigger. Hey, Angie. So this one is zebra wood, which is a kind of a cool wood. It's extremely durable. It's very insect resistant. It's great wood. It's kind of, it looks like zebra stripes, as you would guess probably from the name. But it makes a pretty cool pattern. So I made another Tenarashi. I had a custom order for a Tenarashi last week, so I made a proof of concept last week, and I really liked them. So I thought I'd make a few more. I have a lot of exotic wood in the shop I've been trying to figure out what to do with, and it's a cool project for exotic wood. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But this one's not. These aren't custom orders. These will go up on the shop on Sunday. All right, put this in the drag room. And this one is Padauk, which is a really cool wood. It is extremely insect resistant, very, very sturdy. It's got a cool orange color. The cool thing about Padauk that I really like is it changes color over time. So like when you first get it, it's usually like a light orange to a medium like orange color, kind of like this. And over the months and years, it slowly turns a darker shade, like almost like a brown / purple / orange color. It's kind of a hard color to describe, but so when if you buy something that's made out of fairly new Padauk, you get to kind of watch it. You get to watch it evolve over the years and change color, which is really cool. But this is a fairly new piece of Padauk, so it's still got plenty of time to darken up and change color. Yeah, I've always thought that's kind of the fun part of Padauk is you buy it. If you get a piece, like I have some pieces that have been in my shop for a year or two that no one's bought yet, so they're dark already. But if you gotta buy a newer piece, you get to watch it change color over time, which is kind of fun. All right, be right back, and I think that is my last tung oil piece. All right, yeah, that's fun. The only problem with Padauk though is that orange, it comes off on everything. Like my shop always looks like I just murdered a bag of Cheetos after I've sanded anything made out of Padauk, because that orange just gets everywhere, and you have to clean up in between before you sand anything else, because if you sand it into the grain of a lighter wood, it can stain it. So it can be a little difficult to work with. All right, is that everything I needed to tung oil? I think so. All right, if it's not, if I take all this off and that's not the last thing, I'm gonna be pissed. What is happening here? Hey, David, I am oiling wood. That's what's happening here, and staining wood. Wood projects. I run a shop called Warrior Wood and Props, and this is Saturday Staining, where I stain and oil all of my projects from Saturday. Angela, that's a great question. What makes it change colors? I do not know. I just know that it does that. I'm sure that there is probably like a botanist who can give you a very good sciencey explanation, but I don't know why it changes colors. I just know that it does over time. It just gets darker and changes from like a light orange to a more like brownish, purplish orange color. The final color is kind of hard to describe. It's a very dark, it's kind of like a mix of brown, purple, and orange. It's a weird, it's kind of a hard color to describe. You wipe out my tung oil tray here. I call it my tung oil tray, but it's honestly, I just recycle to-go boxes. If I get a plastic to-go container, I'll save those and use them as my catch-alls for tung oil, because I hate seeing plastic get used once and thrown away. It drives me nuts. All right, let me get this out of the way here. All right. And I gotta clean my hands off because I got a little tung oil on them. Hey, David, what's going on? So next I've got a hickory dagger I'm gonna stain. And these are always fun. I got another, since spooky season is coming, I got another vampire bat to stain. This is for vampire hunters. That way you can smack the vampire over the head and you can stake them with the bat. It's always fun. I tend to sell a lot of these over Halloween, so I've already got one up on the shop. I got one I finished last weekend, and now I'm gonna finish that one. That way I'll have 3 in stock for spooky season, as they tend to go pretty quick. And this one, this one I actually just realized I have to distress this before I stain it. So give me 1 second. Let me throw this away and do this ridiculous gesture so I can dry my hands. I look like an elderly woman in distress for some reason when I do this. But anyway, yeah, with these, I score them up with a knife just to make them look a little bit battle worn, and then I stain them, and then they get a cool little natural jute cord handle wrap. Makes them look pretty cool. I already have quite a few of these on the shop in inventory, but I had one more blank for these, and so figured I'd make one last one for the spooky season. I spent hours staining them just so I can cut them up, and or hours sanding them, not staining them. I spent hours sanding them, so just so I can cut them up and make them look ugly. Because when it comes to vampire stakes, that seems to be what people want. So now it's all scored up. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, and it's going to get stained. Glove up. Why do I distress it? That is a great question. The reason is, you know, like for a long time I've sold these same daggers, and I still have them on my shop. I would sand them up to, like, you know, 1000 grit, give them a nice pretty tung oil finish. But when it comes to like vampire related stuff, people seem to like it when it looks old and worn and used. People don't like shiny stuff when it comes to vampire hunter accoutrement, it seems like. So I distress it to make it look like it's been used and it's been around the block a few times. So I give it a nice little dark Jacobean or Jacobian. I don't know. Does anybody know how to pronounce this word? I don't know. I've been saying Jacobian, but I don't know. I honestly don't know how it's pronounced. I should probably Google that at some point. I have the whole knowledge of the world at my fingertips on my phone, and I don't bother to look things up. Probably should do that. I'm going to stir this stain up a little quick. Yes, I want it to look more used. I think that was 30. I don't know. I lost count. I guess it doesn't matter. You don't really have to stir it a certain number of times, but I always count them. Yeah, in vampire lore, are certain woods more effective than others? Absolutely. You can buy Nutella in cans now. Yeah. No, it's just a very dark stain. Yes, there is. There actually is a lot of lore. It gets ignored a lot, though, for some reason, the lore around that. Like, and I've talked about it on my lives before. There actually are rules when it comes to staking vampires, and one of the #1 rules is the kind of wood you use. And that rule is you should never stake a vampire with an evergreen wood. Uh, that's part of the old school Wallachian Romanian lore. The reasoning behind it is that evergreen was seen as like a symbol of immortality, and since vampires are undead immortal beings, the idea was that you didn't want to stab an undead immortal being with a wood that represents immortality, which is evergreen. You didn't want to stab them with it. The lore states that if you stab a vampire with a stake made of evergreen wood, it will not kill them. And in some of the lore, not only does it say it will not kill them, some of the lore says it will also make them stronger. Do I know if this lore is correct or not? No, I've never staked an actual vampire. However, I don't know that like you want to be testing that kind of stuff against an actual vampire. So I kind of feel like it's just best practice is just not to engage a vampire with an evergreen wood stake. Just stick to hardwood, stick to the usual stuff like oak and hickory. This is hickory, by the way. I know what your next question is. Do I sell stakes that are made of evergreen wood? Yes, I do. They're for prop purposes only. So yeah, this is not an evergreen wood, but I do have some, not a lot, but I have some that are made of pine just because pine's a cheap wood. So it makes it where I can make stakes that are cheap and easy to buy. If somebody just needs it for like a Halloween costume, they want a nice looking stake. I can make pine look pretty good. It's just a matter of sanding and staining to make it look right. So I do have evergreen wood stakes in my shop, but if they're made of evergreen wood, I always say what kind of wood my stuff's made out of. So, all right, let me go put this in the dry room. Be right back. And then, are there other supernatural creatures that staking is used? Sort of. So you gotta remember, vampires are closely related to like other stuff like Draugr and revenants and others. So there are other undead creatures that are similar to vampires in different lore where a stake will work. But for the most part, it is pretty exclusive to vampires. In werewolf lore, you sometimes see where it'll say that like a silver stake will work with a werewolf, not wood, silver. Sometimes iron also works, depending on the lore. Iron and silver were both considered like good metals for warding off evil. So you see those a lot in the lore. Like with vampires, a lot of people think, the silver bullet is the only way, or with werewolves, people think a silver bullet's the only way to kill a werewolf. But the truth is, werewolf lore has been around a lot longer than firearms have. So what did they do to kill them before there were firearms? The answer is, it was very complicated. One way to do it was to throw an iron bar over the werewolf's head. That was an old school way of taking out a werewolf. If you threw an iron bar over its head, it was supposed to make the werewolf revert back to its human form, and it would make them vulnerable. That sounds really complicated. You got to stand your ground to throw it over their head and pray they don't tear you to pieces, and that piece of lore is actually going to work. So yeah, werewolves, silver stakes are definitely a thing. Silver tipped arrows, stuff like that. Silver and iron seem to work against werewolves. Sometimes that gets looped into the vampire lore too. Depends. Woot woot. Do I give a disclaimer to let them know they won't be effective? I do not give a disclaimer to let them know it won't be effective again if it's an actual vampire. No. I do, however, have a disclaimer on all of my vampire steaks that I sell in my shop to basically like, do not stake anyone with my steaks, please. Because here's the thing about wooden steaks. Do they kill vampires? Yes. A wooden stake to the heart will definitely kill a vampire, and definitely shouldn't have taken my gloves off. However, if you stake a regular human being in the heart with a wooden stake, if you stab them through the heart with a wooden stake, guess what also happens? They also die. So, you know, if you're going to use one of my stakes against an actual vampire, please be very damn sure that you're fighting an actual vampire and not just a person in a costume or not just a person that looks terrible. Will secondhand smoke kill a vampire? No, probably not. Since they're immune to cancer and things from most of the lore, so they're immune to illness. So they cause illness in a lot of the lore, but they are immune to it. So no, secondhand smoke definitely will not kill a vampire. Might kill a werewolf. I don't know. If you smoke a lot, I mean, I don't know, Tony. I mean, you know what I think you need to do? You need to get out there and test that. You need to do a field test, Tony. You're the guy for this job. I feel it. You're the person for this job, Tony. Get out there. Get out there, find yourself a vampire, sit them down in an enclosed room and just chain smoke until they die. And let me know how it works. Let me know how many it takes. Because I think you probably have to smoke a lot. Since vampires don't really have to breathe to survive, I don't know that smoke is going to be super effective against them. I don't know. That's a new question. It's funny, like after my last, I did Tampa Comic Con this year, and I did a panel. I was on a panel for like monster romance books, which I'm not quite sure how I ended up on that panel, but I was asked questions I never thought, mostly about monster like genitalia, and I didn't know the answers to most of those questions. I was also asked what my favorite monster body part was, which is a new question I'd never been asked before. Are biblical woods more effective for staking? Not according to anything that I've seen. There is some lore, you know, like South American and like Spiritismo, Hoodoo Voodoo, that kind of stuff. You do see some lore around like using like special woods against like zombies and evil spirits and undead. Like Palo Santo wood is one. You know, some forms of like sappy woods, it seems like they tend to use. But Palo Santo's the big one. Palo Santo wood it's very hard to find a large piece of Palo Santo. It's not super common, mostly because it was very popular in faith religions. So it got used a lot. It's hard to find big pieces of Palo Santo to like make a steak out of, but you can find Palo Santo out there, but there's just not a whole lot of it. Be right back. Give me 1 second. Let me put this away. Hey, what's up, Muhai? Question mark? I just got done doing the Saturday stating. I'm just answering some questions folks have on staking vampires. So if you got any questions on how to fight vampires or werewolves or any other supernatural creatures, I actually just finished a book for DK Publishing called Supernatural Creatures that is basically an illustrated encyclopedia of supernatural creatures. So I got a lot of info in the noggin right now on how to fight supernatural creatures. So if you got any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, and I will answer them while I'm cleaning up here. Just putting stuff away. I don't want to carry the phone around while I do this. It's just going to make it weird. Let's see. Put these away. Yeah, that's all the stuff I had to stain today. I do go live in the morning on Sundays. I go live at 7:30 a.m. To do my finishing work. So all the stuff you saw today that got oiled and stained, all that stuff will get cord wrapped and corded up and given its final touches to get ready to be put on the shop. 7:30 a.m. Eastern time is usually, I know it's an ungodly hour, usually seems to be people who have either been up all night or woke up early for some reason. Yeah, it's usually my Saturday lives are usually only about 30 to 45 minutes. My Sunday lives are usually a couple of hours because I have to cord wrap a ton of stuff. I've got a vampire bat I gotta do the handle on. I've got a set of Nightwing sticks I have to cord up. I've got that stake I've got to cord wrap. All those Uwara, I have to put cords in the holes of the Uwara. I've got to do the loops on the war fans. I got to do the handle wrap on that hickory dagger. Oh yeah, and I got to do a loop on the fish bopper. So I got a lot of stuff. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Angela, I have no idea what that is. All right. You put this away. Be right back. And then today, when I get done, I've got an order for two. See if I can not drop them. I've got an order for two custom battle bats. One is a outer space themed bat, and the other one they want an orange, like a bright orange and sky blue bat. So I finished and sanded these up today. So I gotta put some primer on these. After I get done with the live, I can't really go live while I'm painting because I got air scrubbers running and I gotta wear a respirator and all that jazz. You don't know what I'm looking at either, to be honest. That's funny. And I also got I got this bad boy. I'm making a prop machete for Halloween out of wood. I did the handle after it's been primed. Just got to tape off the handle and spray paint the blade. I'll probably do that one today as well. But anyway, folks, that is it for me today for Saturday Stating. Unless you got some questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Give you mo what? Give me mochetes? you want mochete of the machete? I have a set of I make machete wasters for people that do like Kali, Silat, Eskrima, and there are a couple other martial arts where they use machetes. And I had somebody ask like why I don't make just like straight up like Halloween prop machetes. And I'm like, I just honestly hadn't thought of it. I don't know why I didn't think of it. So I'm gonna make one, see how it does. If it sells, I'll make more. You know, it's a little nicer than your like Spirit Halloween props. It's wood. It's not. There's no blade. It's safe. You know, it's not plastic, so it doesn't have that plasticky toy look to it. But it's gonna have the handle will be black. I'm gonna do a paracord wrap on the handle. I'm gonna give it a metallic chrome paint on the blade. I haven't decided if I'm gonna two-tone it, like tape the actual blade part and give it like a lighter color. Silver, I don't know. I haven't decided. I'll spray the blade first and decide if I like it. But yeah, the machete waster. Or not waster. That's a machete prop, not a waster. Please don't use this in actual sparring. It will fly apart. It's just like, you know, like cardwood. It's not, you know, it's strong, but it's not strong enough for sparring at all. All right, folks. Well, if that is it for today, if no one else has any more questions, I'm going to call it a day, get this stuff painted up, go home, have some lunch, and try to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. if you want to join me for my Sunday finishing work. I will be online. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Saturday and for the likes. I really appreciate it. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.